now. It is linked to my YouTube. Sorry guys, if you've just joined us, let's see if we can...
It's linked to your YouTube.
Is it?
I don't know, because there's nothing coming up on the MRC channel.
That's come up now, I can see.
Yeah, it's come up now, yeah.
Hello everyone, apologies if you've got a bit of a problem there, if you've missed the first 6 minutes of qualifying. For some reason I pressed go on the record and it didn't want to broadcast to our YouTube channel, so very sorry for that. What we'll do is I'll take you around another flying lap, I'll try and fill you in on everything that's happened so far. At the moment you've got your runners and riders on the left hand side. Jackster at the moment are leading the field with a very competitive 1:20.9, but I think those times are only going to come down as the time goes on. We're here, it's tier 3, it's round 6, we're in Monza, and of course I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, it's Carl. Carl, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad, Rob.
Yeah, I know we've gone through this all before.
Yeah.
But tell me your thoughts on Monza and what you think of it as a track and how well do you go around here?
As a track, absolutely enjoy it. The speed, the focus of getting the acceleration just right, especially at the slow chicanes, and I just enjoy the track that much because just how quick the track is.
It's a fun one, isn't it? I think we had a lot of people turn up for practice this week. It's a track that everybody thinks, yeah, I've got a chance round here, and as I said to you before, I think it's a track that some people think is deceptively simple. It doesn't have any of those huge technical turns. We've just come from Portugal, which I think these two tracks are like chalk and cheese. You couldn't get two more different ones. But Monza really demands perfection from every corner because you miss one apex, you're a little bit late in the DRS zone, you lose a bit of traction, you're losing those valuable tenths. I reckon we're going to see quite a squished field tonight, as I like to call it, with not much of a gap between us. So, as everybody missed our first onboard lap, let me take you around with Melvin, who is of course in the beautiful red Forza Ferrari tonight. Let's see as he exits the last corner and goes across the line. DRS wide open here. You can see that letterbox, that'll be pushing him along, and look down at the dash, he's up to 215 miles an hour and it's hard on the brakes. The 100 marker hooks it into the chicane, which is a right left. Want to use all the marker on the outside. You've got that nice and tight, very tidy, and you're sweeping through this really fast right-hander. It is just pedal to the metal here. You don't have to worry about lifting or anything. You just be aware of your surroundings. And again, look at the 100 meter board. When you hook it in, you can take quite a lot of turn, although people have said it's a very inconsistent form of this, depending on how you take it. Then we're into Lesmo 1 and 2. Hook it in around about the 50 meter board, carry your speed through, use the run on the left-hand side, and hook it back into that patch of green, use the run up on the left-hand side again. Don't invalidate, you've done very well to do that. And again, we're on to another big straight, another DRS zone. Look at the speed down there on his dash, 210, 12 miles an hour. And we're into the left or right of the Ascari. Lot can go wrong there, you can invalidate the lap, but it's very neat and tidy by Melvin. Now into the final challenge to Parabolica. It's just the right-hander, should be simple, but it's all about keeping as much speed as you can through there. Keep it in 50 and then hook it all the way out to the right, easy on the power, don't validate on the right, on the left-hand side, and cut as much track as you can across the right-hand corner. Let's put Melvin up into 5th place with a 121.5. Very nice lap there. Yeah, sorry.
Just that onboard alone just shows you how quick this track is. I think it's the only track that I think close enough to the speeds round here would have to be Jeddah, as it's known as the fastest street circuit on the calendar.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know, there's a fact, isn't there, like how much percentage you are spending on full throttle round Monza. The stress it must put on the engines, on the drivers. And that's why I said about corner exits around here, every apex that you take, you want to be full on the throttle as much as possible. Anything that stops you is going to be costing valuable tenths. So it's all a big, how far you want to push it. Look who's top of the charts, though. At the moment, we missed that. That's very impressive from Connor.
Championship leader as well, Connor, separated by 8 points to Jax, who is also second, and then you got Boothie currently P3 at the moment as well.
Yeah, all very good from our championship contenders. But that's a big gap there I can see from Connor with a half a second distance. I'll hope that he can keep that speed up going into the race. So let's pop on board with Gecko. Here's on a slow lap. Must have had a little bit of an incident. Firester across there in a 122 on the mediums. No, it says on the mediums, but he's on the softs. We'll stick with him for a while. So, setups round here, Carl. Do you think it's worth going for a 0-0 wing, going for the Gav strategy of as least downforce possible, or were you tempted to add a couple of notches to your
I was staying well away of the 0-0s because I think it's best to have some kind of tweak on there, because especially for the turning for the chicanes, and especially the two right-handers, Lesmo 1 and 2. So I was staying well away of 0-0. I think it is doable by any stretch of the imagination, but I was staying well away of it to try and get that traction in the corners.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. I think there is sort of like there's a temptation to go for sort of a time trial setup around here. You can be very quick over one lap, but it's a track as well. I don't know how you found the tyre wear during the race. For me, with my setup, I found the rears seem to go really quickly for me. That's where I was getting the majority of the wear.
My tyre wear weren't too bad, but my rear left was the one that really took majority of the agony of the track.
Yeah, same here.
I did find that out.
Do you run traction control at all, or is that
medium? I ran medium traction.
Okay, that's good, because I wondered if it was me running no traction control, if I was losing traction trying to get on the loud pedal too quickly. I was 30 guys rallying there. I'll go on board with Rob Smith for a bit. But yeah, no, it's good to know that that's balanced out between the assist settings and that everybody was suffering. I do think it's just because you're trying to get down on the power so quickly, you put such amount of pressure on those times.
I mean, I will have to admit, I am very aggressive on my tyres, very aggressive when it comes to my tyre usage.
I think it's worth a risk, particularly as this track is one that's not shy of a safety car or two. We had 3, at least in Tier 2 on Monday night. I can't remember how many we had in Tier 1, but because of the speed round here, one little contact down the straight and all of a sudden you can be out into a barrier. It's a track that demands a lot of concentration, doesn't it? And a little bit of luck.
Yeah, especially on the very first lap as well, with how tight that first corner is at that chicane, and you got everybody barreling down off the grid. You're always pretty much guaranteed to have some form of contact or whatever going into those two corners, because of how tight it is, and everyone's trying to all jostle for position and probably filter in as well.
I agree. Lap 1 particularly, because you practice a lot of things. Everybody does practice. You do a lot of laps. CPU's got your setup. But the one thing you don't practice is going from a standing start at 15th on the grid and where you should brake with 14 cars in front of you and 5 cars behind you, right? So it's that unknown into a very long runoff area. Everybody's got to sort of trust each other through that corner. And yeah, I sort of cross my fingers and hope that nothing goes wrong, or otherwise it can be a bit embarrassing. We've got a car. I was just going to see. There was a yellow flag. I think it might be.
Yeah, it was Ghost Rider. Lost it at a Lesmo 2. Sorry, 1. Get me corners right.
No, that's fine. It can happen. There I was doing the lap run through, and I was like, come on, each one of these has a name. I should be able to, because Ascari is. Am I right in thinking Ascari isn't Ascari anymore? Did they rename, or is that another part of the track that they renamed?
I think it's still called Ascari, because turns 1 and 2 make up the Rettifilio chicane. Then obviously you got turn 3, which is Curva Grande. Turns 4 and 5 make up the Della Rogers chicane, and obviously you got the 2 Lesmos.
Yeah, I think
turns 8, 9, and 10 make a Scari, and I think it's still classified as a Scari.
no, that's fine. I think it's turn 3 that they've renamed, and I can't remember. I might have to look it up. But because Curva Grande just literally translates into big curve in Italian, it's not
pretty much.
It's not a very romantic name. So I think they named it after some of the other one of the other Italian champions. But off the top of my head, I can't remember it. Might have to look that up.
I have no idea because I've pretty much got the old names for the corners.
No, that's absolutely fine. We won't worry about it now because we are into the business end of qualifying with a huge train out. Who am I going to focus? I'll focus on Boothie in P3. He's about 0.2 off of Jackster, just right ahead. He's also on an outlap. And Connor's the man to beat at the moment with quite a sizable 0.6 lead. These guys are going to have to hope the tracks really rub it in, or they're going to have to find some magic out there to beat that time at the moment.
Definitely, and I know Connor to be relatively strong here because I think it was the last time we raced at Monza. He only lost the race due to a 3-second penalty coming out of Parabolica. So he finished in front on track, but because of the 3 seconds, he missed out on the win.
Yeah, it's gutting around here, but it does happen. Track limits are a very real danger around here, not just for your qualifying lap, because of course one, that will ruin it and red flag it, and then you'll get nothing at all, but during the race they can add up, and there's quite a few danger zones, isn't there, where you can invalidate your lap, particularly Ascari. I think that's the one where if you get your line wrong through there again and again and again, you just end up swearing.
Yeah, I think majority of the people tend to invalidate at Ascari, but you can also invalidate the Lesmo 2, where it's quite a simple one to invalidate, and there's areas galore where you can do it, but as you said, Ascari is the more common one.
Yes, it's certainly the one where I'm throwing my hands up. I'm about to see where Boothie is as we go through the second sector. Is he up or down on his time? Down by 0.3, so he has to develop something very special. It is very wide. Doesn't invalidate him though. He's using every inch of the track that he can. Very brave. He's got to go for it now, because now that checkered flag has gone down. There's no more time. This has to be the lap. He won't have another. Let's see what he can do. As he comes around the barrel. Oh, it's a big moment! Oh gosh, and that car is parked right at the apex.
That's another thing that's easy to do. You get too much on the power early at Parabolica and you just find yourself being spat into the barrier on the inside.
Yeah, a lot of other people coming through. So let's see, Melvin into P2 with the Ferrari. I'm going to keep on board with Nuts. It takes a very wide line to try and avoid that stranded car. I just don't know. I'm fingers crossed he's ghosted, because that's the last thing you want to see. Thankfully, the virtual stewards have removed him from the race. Jackster in P4. Let's see if he can improve on his time as he crosses the line. It's up into P3 with a 120.7. Let's see what Rob Smith can do as he comes around the Parabolica corner. In P4 at the moment, and it's straight into the pits, so clearly he wasn't improving. Baby Hornet also straight into the pits. Let's see, we've got is it Melvin again, who's invalidated his lap. I think we are coming to the end here, Carl, as everybody is just scratching around for time. We've got Scratch, and it's a very late exit into the pits. We've got a couple of cars out there, but for me, yeah, that looks
just waiting on 38 to either cross the line or go into the pits.
Yes, thank you. He goes past there. There's a stranded wheel on the track. He doesn't care. Goes straight through it. Back into the pits. So, ladies and gentlemen watching, that'll be it for qualifying. We'll wait for the Ferrari pit garage crew to put that car away, and then we'll take you through the grid. Just have a quick look at the YouTube chat. Thank you for those who've been able to join us tonight. Ant Stokes saying Mutz for the win. Let's see where Nuts is. P6 at the moment in the pack, so he's certainly got a chance. And good evening to you as well, Ant. Our Tier 1 driver didn't set a time, so starting back in 20th place, but a very good race on Monday, and yeah, he'll certainly be interested to see if he can make his way up the field tonight. So let's take you through our grid for Tier 3 here at Monza. We've got Connor in the Red Bull in first, Melvin in the Ferrari in second, Jackster in third, Rob Smith in fourth, Boothie and Mutsunuts in fifth and sixth, Baby Hornet, the other Red Bull, in seventh, Ghost Rider in the Alpine, Manu and Fire Rooster in the Williams, starting ninth and 10th, 38 in the Ferrari in 11th, Donny in 12th, Fox River 8 in 13th, Nibs in 14th, Single Track 15th, Scratch in 16th, Buildy Baldy 17th for the Mercedes, KK Matthew in 18th, Fanning in 19th, and Ant clears up the rest of the grid in 20th place in the Haas. Who do you think has got the best chance in this race, Carl? Anybody to really watch out for?
Like I said earlier, he just missed out on the win on penalties, so I think Connor's probably one of the favourites, but I wouldn't bet against Jackster either, because since coming into Tier 3, Jackster really has shown what he's capable of, and he's in that group with me and a few other people, and I've seen how much he's developed since moving into Tier 3, and even I reckon he could have a good shout here as well.
Yeah, totally agree with you. That Jackster was racing with us in Tier 2 on Monday, had a really good race, finished just above me in P6, and I think it's little results like that when you are reserving, going up a little bit higher and getting the results that just builds your confidence, right? I would stress to anybody who's watching, if you're from the league or not, always try and push yourself, like make yourself available if you can for those reserve spots, because you never know what can happen. And if you get the result, it's like, hey, I think I'm on to something here. Oh, this track really suits me. So as we just wait for the formation lap to start, I will get the tyres up. Let's see what intervals we've got for everybody. So we've got a good mix of medium and hard runners. Our highest hard runner, Jackster, there in third place. Top two starting on the mediums, of course. Then we've got it sort of mixed down the field. Ant in last, starting on the mediums, so maybe he'll be looking to make a charge through the field. What did you start on Monday, Carl? And do you think there's much difference between the two tyres?
I went for the start on the hards, and I don't think there was much really in there. I mean, obviously the hard is usually the better race tyre because of the durability of it, and the reasoning behind starting on, I went on the hards was just to get that longer stint out of the way. I may have overdone it because I think I went about 20 laps on the hard tyres before bolting on a set of softs, which kind of ruined my racing personally. Went a bit too long on the hards.
It can mix it up. I would say for those, I started on the hards and then made a mistake. Put my hands up there. There was a terrible awareness in my new cockpit position of where people were and lost my front wings. I had to come to the pits lap one, put on the mediums. Now, the one thing, if you do get a safety car, that's not the optimum strategy, but if you do get safety cars bunching up the field, you can get off those hards early and you can go medium till the end of the race. Those mediums will go about 13 laps. So for me, starting on the hards gives you a bit more flexibility, I felt, because if you've got the early safety car, you've got to change to another compound, so you can go on to the hards, but then you're stuck in the hards, won't get you through till the end from lap one. So yeah, a little bit different, but I think I agree with you. There's not much difference in the two tyres at the start. I think those two at the top on the mediums, Connor and Melvin, will be looking to make the most of them, try and get a second gap away from the rest of the field, and try and get away from that DRS train, because it's very important. Let's see, I will take everything away. Let's see what camera angle you'll give me, Codemasters. Have we got a nice one? We've got the lights there. Let's see, we're all lining up now. And like two lights, we cannot see the lights, but I can hear the beeps. And they hold. And we hold, and it's away. Here we are. Oh, the Monza Grand Prix. That's a good start there from Connor. Melvin in close pursuit as we come down to the first turn. We're all charging in. This is the bit, as I said, there's a lot of times. I don't know if we've had a yellow flag out already. Connor's run very wide, and it's Melvin. The Ferrari fans will be going absolutely mad as it's a Ferrari that leads after the first chicane, with Rob Smith really battling alongside Connor as we go into the Curva Grande. Connor's managing to keep his position as they all filter through there's a bit of a gap that's formed. We've got
we've got a virtual safety car because there was a lot of happening in that mid-packet, the first chicane, so we've got a virtual already.
Alright, so that'll just calm the field down. Donny, unfortunately, picking up a 5-second penalty. Yeah, it's about 8 back, isn't it, that we've got that big gap of a second. And tell you what, if you fire Jay Rooster, you're going to make that time up pretty quickly, because otherwise that top 8 will just get away from you very quickly around here. Did you benefit at all much from a DRS train while you were around your car on Monday?
It more or less hampered me because I was usually the one towards the back of the train, so it was helping me pulling away from the cars behind. But it's like you just sat there, and there's literally nothing you can do because of how strong that straight line speed is.
I think you're right. You know, it's a track. We always think of Monza as one where, it's easy to overtake around here. You think it is, lots of long straights, lots of DRS straights. But once those DRS trains forms, it can become a bit of a procession as we're back underway. You remember a virtual safety car, and there's no DRS yet. So they'll have to use the ERS. They're going down. Rob Smith looking very racy there on Connor as we hurl down into corner 1. But no, it's still a threat from behind. Jackster late on the brakes. Quite a smooth move there, and he just fires past Rob Smith into podium position. P3, excellent.
I'm just watching further back in the grid, the pack that's further behind that gap in the top section.
Oh goodness, okay, yeah, I've just gone back at that. One moment, we've got a lot of people here. Let's see, have we got the gap the interval? Yep, so that's alright. Gap from the lead, no, I want the interval time, thank you. A bit better to see what's going on. Gosh, as we've got a Ferrari going very wide in the background, that's 38. Thank goodness for ghosting, or that would have been a really big issue. So, feast and famine for the Ferraris at the moment as 38 drops all the way back down to 17. But it's our race leader, Melvin, at the moment. They've got a big Red Bull that's gone out to the side there. It was Baby Hornet caught up in something as he just recovers. That was through Ascari, fired in there, but let's have a look. The car doesn't seem to have any damage. I can't see any end plates missing, no visible damage. So fingers crossed, we can just carry on as we are. Let's go back up to the front and have a look, because Rob Smith and Jackster are having a right old ding-dong. Jackster got the move there. DRS is now available, but it won't be available on this main straight. They will have to wait a little bit. So it takes it very conservatively through there. And we've got no changes further back. Oh, tell you what we do have. It's that Melvin in the Ferrari. Our race leader maybe missed a braking point or something, but he's really suffered, and he's gone all the way back down into P5. So now it's the people who were pole sitter, Connor, who now leads this race.
With Jackster only about 4 tenths behind.
Yeah, and it's a little gap we've got there. I said how important DRS is around here. Connor, Jackster, Rob Smith, all within a second. It's 1.3 to Boothby, who has an angry Melvin behind him, who has the DRS. Melvin doesn't. That's a bit of a battle down through there. They go into the Ascari. Is he going to be given room? Yes, Melvin makes the move, gets that time back. And I don't know about you, but if I was him, I'd have my pedal to the metal.
Gekke's gone at Lesmo 2.
Oh, yeah, and that
that's
brings
our first safety car of the evening.
Let's see, I'll ride on board with Ghost Rider. It was unfortunate at the back of the grid. Let's see if we can see what happened to that McLaren. Were you on board, or did you just see what he got?
I spotted that his name had gone in grey and a stricken orange dot on the exit of Lesmo 2 on the track map.
Yeah, so the car has luckily been cleaned up nice and quickly. But that's all done. Let's see who's brave enough to pit. We've got only one pitter at the moment, B17, who I think also, did he pick up a penalty for his troubles?
Yeah, it came up for 5 seconds for speeding, so I think he came in a bit too quick. And that's another thing, that pit entry comes at you so quick because of the speed you're carrying through Parabolica, it comes at you that quickly, and with the entry so short, it's so easy to get a speeding penalty because of how quickly it comes at you.
Oh, totally. There's a lot of... Again, as I said in our little build-up, we've got cold tyres there, B17. You've got to remember that. Your braking point's going to be a little bit earlier than you think as you come out the pits. It's so easy to do that. I did that first time under the safety car as well. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of those little things that can trip you up round Monza. Concentration has to be high all the time round, or yeah, it is a track that will punish you. And as we said, with lots of safety cars, particularly late safety cars, you don't want to be picking up pens either, because it cost Connor the win last year. It can cost a lot of people positions as well. It's yeah, you're kind of kicking yourself if you've lost out just because there is a late safety car that brings some drama.
I think we had a relatively late one in Tier 2 on Monday, because I think near enough most of the people ended up jumping on a set of softs for that last bit of dash. But quick question for you, Rob, while we're under safety car.
Yeah.
Late safety car, would you go for track position or would you put a set of softs on?
Well, if you're at the back of the grid, I don't think there's any question. If you're back of the grid, you always go softs because you're not going to lose that many positions. However, on Monday night, I was sat in about a 10th position, and I don't think a single car in front of me decided to pit. It was just the ones behind me that did. And I had one soft runner at the end that caught me. But as I said, late safety car, you've got to remember there's going to be at least 2 laps until you get your DRS. This is a track that it's quite hard to overtake, and everybody's just going to be using up your ERS because you've got about 2 laps of ERS in your car at the end anyway. The difference between a new set of softs and a worn pair of mediums isn't that great. You may lose 1 or 2 positions if the guy behind you decides to do it, but you're not going to suddenly battle your way up to the lead or take 3 or 4. It's a track where it gets congested quickly, and if you get past a car, if you get past one car, you might do it at one corner, but you're unlikely to do it at the next and the next and the next, if you get what I mean. You need a couple of laps for those softs to really find their window. So, for me, I take track position every time at Monza, unless, of course, you're outside the points, in which case you've got nothing to lose, go for it.
Where, yeah, like you say, Fox is retired.
Yeah, where's
behind the safety car.
Oh, he's
in between Lesmo 1 and 2.
Yeah. I think Ericsson hit us, he's saying in the radio, but I don't think that's the case. He's just lost it all by himself. So that is a George Russell, Romain Grosjean take your pick moment, unfortunately, as that stranded Alfa Romeo is on the side, crashed under the safety car. Let's see if that means we're going to have one more lap under the safety car, or if we will go racing at the end. I don't know if Ghost Rider is going to catch up to the pack, so yeah, we've gone through Sector 3 now, so I think we're likely to have another lap here. That brings up a question for you then, Carl. I had a question for the YouTube chat. Feel free to put your opinions in the chat. Italian Grand Prix, any favourite moments or moments that stick out in your mind? I think it's always a good track for racing, and we've had some great battles here, but which one really sticks up in your mind?
Now, I was a big Schumacher fanboy at the time when Michael was racing, and one of the moments that sticks to me was when he won the Italian Grand Prix, and I think he equalled Senna on race wins that day, which kind of sticks to me quite well. Yeah. And obviously Vettel's maiden Grand Prix victory in the Toro Rosso, that sticks in my mind as well. Trying to think what other ones there are.
I think going back to your first one, I mean, there is nothing like the Tifosi at Monza, right? There's fans all over the world, and people say ours are the best or whatever, but there's a different type of passion when Ferrari wins at Italy. You know the crowd's going to love it. Schumacher was the hero, and I think I'm not surprised. Schumacher got emotional when he beat Senna. Hamilton got emotional when he beat Senna's record as well. It feels like, I don't know, to those drivers, that they recognise greatness when they see it, right? And just
totally.
You know, statistically, I know you have a lot more races now or whatever, and it's a different ball game almost entirely. But to match the man, you suddenly feel like, yeah, you're on par. You could be mentioned in the same breath as Senna, and Yeah, I think Schumacher and
Yeah,
Hamilton
I
have more than
also,
deserved it.
just very quickly, I also agree with what Bergen's just put in the YouTube. Alonso Vettel turn 3 battle, that was quite a hair-raising moment. They're
Yes.
going side by side.
Yeah, it's some real good opportunities for you. Got to send it round Monza, haven't you? Always, and you've always got to do it around about 150 to 200 miles an hour, and put your body on the line. So it's amazing to see what those two have done. We're on board though because the safety car is about to go. Let's see when Connor decides to go. He's gone around about 3/4 of the way around the parabolica. But I don't think Jackster has been caught napping. And no, Jackster, you can see that time gap is coming down and down and down. What's 0.4? Now down to about 0.25. Is he close enough? Is he going to think of a move? He's put a gap to Rob Smith behind. No, he thinks better of it. And we have everybody single file through here. Johnny and Boothie going side by side. Johnny leaving the space, thankfully, and Boothie's just going to file in there. I think if you just pushed off line going through that chicane, it is so hard to get it back through Curve de Grande. You're just going to sort of pick a line and stick to it. We keep on board with Fire Rooster as well, who's all over the back of his teammate. We're going to try the lunge. No, it's Manu who does the move on Boothie, who's, gosh, he's really been set back. He was pushed right, lost the position, and he's just going backwards through the field now. Williams almost tripping up over themselves there. He's got Fire Rooster right alongside his teammate again. No team orders here. It's Fire Rooster who gets the move done, but look at that gap, 1.8 to the car in 6th place ahead. He's made the move, but what does it cost him? Gosh.
Now, single tracks going just took Boothie on into the first part of Ascari. Yeah. I think Boothie's lacking a bit of confidence on the hard tyres on the restart.
Yeah, he hasn't changed, has he? He's on those 6-lap old hards, but they don't seem to have fired up quite as quickly as the rest around it. It's quite interesting to note that, yeah, you've got mostly medium runners that leave the field now, as there is a little bit of difference between those tyres. As again, we're watching as Fire Rooster and Manning go wheel to wheel. They're going to be side by side into turn one. Fire Rooster backs out of it, does he? Yes. He's got an Alpha Tauri on his right-hand side. That's fine, look at that view there behind him, and leaving dust. Such acceleration at the back there. He makes the 8th place his own. I think those two Williams just have to work together now if they're going to catch up with that pack in front. Look at the long-term race. You've got 1.9 seconds, and we're going to be in a big DRS train together. We're going to let them run up the road too far.
Yeah, especially with the pack in front being about 1.4 in front of Manu, so he's got to try and get his foot down and try and close that gap before the DRS is activated. Because once that DRS activated and you see those cars pulling away with the train, you just literally got to sit there and think, bide my time.
Yeah, precisely. You're waiting for that one moment, aren't you? Maybe that one little mistake, or maybe the ERS has run out, or something just when you've got the run. But it is all about patience, because if you make the move at the wrong time, it's a front wing off the front of your car, and you're into the pits for an early pit stop, or maybe you're bringing out an unwanted safety car. DRS now enabled, so let's see if that shakes things up at all. And I'm sticking on board with the battle between 7th, 8th, and 9th. Single track making the move on Fire Rooster now, as they file down into the first corner. Single track's got the line, he's got the speed. Oh, just force maybe onto the grass a little bit, and that forces Jacob to go rallying. Luckily he doesn't pick up the pen, but he will see him slide down back into 10th place.
I just watched Muts Nuts make a move for P4 into the first chicane whilst you were following that battle with Single Track and Jacob.
Yeah, it's a great battle, isn't it, here, from 4th all the way back to 6th. Gosh, with that little bit of contact there between the Ferrari and the...
Ferrari round.
And I'm just on board for that. I don't know what's happened. There's chaos. It seems the Ferrari went round. Donny stopped in the middle of the track to avoid it and got a bang up the backside for good measure. So that little battle we were watching between 4th, 5th and 6th, disaster has struck, and 2 of those crew find themselves at the back of the pack with no safety car to help squish the field up. Just trying to see if there's...
Jacob lost the back end on the exit of Scari, and luckily managed to stop it from going onto the grass and into the barrier. Didn't lose that many places.
Oh, that's good. Donny will have to pit. He's missing a little bit of front wing. Can't see any damage on the Ferrari yet, though, so let's just see if any of those hit in or stay out. Let's stay on board here. We've got B17 up against the Alfa Romeo of Scratch. Once again, side by side, you'll see a lot of battles here into turn one. You've got to be aware of Boothie in front of you. He's going to be taking up valuable meters of braking zone as there's a little bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo, but it's Scratch who's up into 10th, B17 back in 11th. And that just means that Tier 1 driver, and just biding his time, he's kept out of trouble. And he's going to be all over the back of B17 as we go into the next part of the lap. Another little train forming here, all the way from, is it from single track? Yeah, from 6th all the way back to 14th. We've got a huge bunch of cars here. All of them hard runners, so there's no tyre difference. Let's see if any of them would make a move, as we've got Captain Nibs and the two two Aston Martins now. You can't do 3 into 1 through here, boys. One of you's going to have to back out. It's Captain Nibs who shoots up the inside of Fanning and takes the move, but he's still all up the inside of that gearbox. You've got 4 of them now, side by side. Let's see if Captain Nibs can do anything. Single track is desperately holding on to the toe and the DRS of that Williams in front of him. I think he's going to need every little bit of it as we head down into turn 1. I'm going to carry on. I know there's passes going on at the back. I can see them. So let's see what happens with the Aston Martins. Are we going to see the big move from Captain Nibs? No, he's just not quick enough. You have to be side by side, don't you, or close around the parabolica. But he's just not brave enough to make a move as we get Ant going past P17 in the back. A little bit of contact there. Right in the background you saw between the Aston Martins. That slowed them all up, and that means Boothie is going to be side by side. You've got to be so aware as you go through the Curva Grande. He's got the run on one of them. Is he going to go up the inside? He's thinking about it. He's nearly side by side, wasn't quite alongside, and I think he makes the very sensible move to back out of that one, keep the position. Fanning won't have DRS as we move on to the next straight, so we will have the opportunity very, very soon. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Whilst you've been keeping up with all that, which I give you a quick round of applause for that, because it was lots going off all at once. Yellow, Scratch has gone on the exit of Lesmo 2.
See if we can see
another full safety.
Yeah, it is. Gosh.
Now, if you were on mediums now, like Connor, Rob and Jacob, would you pick now for the hards?
Yes, I think
the safety car.
I think the hards can go to the end, no question about that. It's more what the hard runners do, because the mediums, 16 lap old, gosh, that's a lot of AlphaTauri that was all over the... Sorry, Alfa Romeo that was all over the track there, and unfortunately both of them out for the night. But yeah, and I think if I was a medium runner, no question I would go into the pits, as we are seeing quite a few of them do. I don't know if you can take a set of mediums to the end. I think you'd be banking on another safety car if you want to make them last and have any grip right here.
Well, I'd say in mediums, the maximum you probably want to do would be 13 or 14. You don't really want to be pushing it any more than that.
Yeah, I think my mediums, I did 13, I did 2 sets of 13, and I think the rears are getting up to about 45, 50, which you are losing a lot of traction. And that means that traction always needs speed around here at Monza. So, yeah, it is a big risk, but maybe go on the mediums, banking on another safety car. We've seen 2 already. It's certainly not outside the realms of possibility, is it?
Definitely not. I mean, the usual, pit strategy mainly for Monza, I think it's 12 mediums to 15 hards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, no, that does sound about right.
Courtesy of the information you put in the Discord, mind you.
Yes, yeah, no, I've got our lovely Mark Hodgson to thank for that. He helped me a lot with the strategies this year, helped come up with the tyres, so yeah, big hats off to him. I just do all the fancy graphics, but yes, it's nice to know these things off the top of our head. So,
Bergen says mediums can go to the end from here, but rear left will be at mid 80%.
Ooh, and when's the risk of blowout coming, Bergen? Do you know? Or did you know, Carl?
I think it's round about. It can happen any time after 75%. I think if anyone can correct me on that in the YouTube chat, would be great.
Yeah,
but I think it's anything after 75%.
that is a risk, isn't it? We've seen people do it and survive, and it's great when it comes off. But do you want to be the car that has their left rear go on the last lap, and suddenly you've got three wheels on your wagon trying to defend? Well, you can't defend. You'd have to pull over and let everybody zoom past. It is a real all or nothing strategy. That.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing a Lewis Hamilton on the last lap, that's for sure.
No, precisely. But he still won. But that was with a very competitive Mercedes, let's say.
Yeah, plus that was a front tyre, and I think it'd be a lot harder with a rear tyre, especially with the cars being, I think, they're rear-wheel drive Formula One cars.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all the power for those rear tyres.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a lot harder with a rear puncture rather than a front puncture. So ideally, I wouldn't take the risk.
Okay, so let's go through the field then. We can see the tyres on the left-hand side. Your top five have all decided to stick out. They've said, no, I don't want to risk that medium strategy. Your medium runners, it looks like they've gone for the hard. So that includes the dangerous Ant, our tier 1 Ant in 10th place, but also our front runners in Connor and Rob Smith. And then we've got Melvin, Davey Hornet, who appear to be on the hards for a couple of laps. There's little bumps along the way, but I think they'll be feeling relatively happy that they're on the hards now. The people who've decided to take the big risks are Manu, Nibs, Martin, single track P17 and 38. Luckily, we've only got a very short safety car around here, as it's going to be in this lap. Let's go to Jackster at the front, who'll be leading us away. I think it's a tricky restart, this. You've got to go once, but you know that there's always a risk of somebody catching you behind, and they've got a lot of time to catch it up if they get the run on you on this straight. And be a sitting duck. He's leaving it to the very last moment. There it is, safety car in. Jackson's put the pedal down. I think he's got the beating of Nuts. So yeah, that gap is staying pretty steady behind. He's going to go behind Connor, Ghost Rider and Fanning. These are the mid-lane three. Connor on the outside, out. Great. Ghost Rider on the right. He's got to leave space. Both of them got to leave space. A little bit of contact there.
Oh, there's a bit of a car park in the
oh yes, there
chicane.
is. Loads of yellows going off. Let's see, he's going to lose out. He's lost out a little from that. Connor has to pull out of that, so he stayed in P6. I think it might be Martin's single track who seems to be going backwards down the field.
I did notice I think it was a McLaren that was slightly pointing at a sideways angle in the chicane, so I think there was some contact there.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was Rob Smith who was up with Connor, wasn't he? He was one of our leading drivers, I think, was sort of P2 provisionally in the race if the other leading drivers had to take a pit stop. Something's happened there at T1 and 2, and he's gone all the way back down to 16th, so he might be driving a bit angry now.
Yeah, with that congestion at turn 1 and 2, it's put a big gap between the top part and the bottom part again.
Yes, it has. So, see, there's a gap. See, a big gap as well. Jackster making up a second. He's trying to get out of the DRS of Nuts at the front. He'll stick with his little battle at the back as we have Ant and Donny. That's a Ferrari. Melvin popping into the pits. Maybe he picked up a little bit of damage on that first lap. Ant is going to go past Donny. Yes, he is. That's P9 on the road, but he's got a big gap to make up if he's going to catch up to Baby Hornet. In front of the pack. Fire Rooster in the pit. Captain Nibs in the pit as well. Yeah, there's something happened there, didn't it, in turn 1, where a lot of people have picked up a bit of damage.
And that's the problem because of how tight the chicanes are, especially the first two chicanes. The corners are very, very tight, and it's easy to...
It's a big moment from Jackson. Jackson, who was in the lead, I was about to say that he dropped back for some reason, and Nuts had taken it, made a mistake. And it looks like he's made another mistake in that lap as well. That's 2, and that's taken all the way back down to 12th. Nobody wants to win this race car. They're all finding Mika Hakkinen ways of destroying their race here at Monza tonight.
Not what you want to do.
No, just don't end up in tears at the side of the road, please. Just carry on driving. You don't want that famous Hakkinen moment.
We don't want any. Don't do a Senna and just storm off and don't appear for hours upon end either.
Correct. A complete mystery where he's gone. He can't go to a yacht or anything. DRS now available to our drivers, so let's see if that changes anything as we're herring down. Nuts in the lead by a good 1.5 seconds, followed by Boofy, who's kept himself out of trouble. Remember, those top three yet to pit. They'll be praying for a safety car. It's Connor who sort of has the net lead at the moment in fourth position, but he's under a lot of pressure behind there from Ghost Rider and Manu, who's had a very feisty race as he takes to the grass. There's some Kimi Raikkonen style rallying. He's at the inside of the Curva Grande. Has he got the run on Ghost Rider? He's saying he's just ahead, but Ghost Rider's not going to give it up, is he? He's right on the inside there. No. Manu got just enough of his car ahead. That means he'll be able to keep fifth position. And now, on those medium tyres, he'll be hoping to hang on to the back of Connor and see if he can take those medium tyres all the way to the end.
Nuts keeping that gap to Boothie, but Fanning's closing the gap to Boothie, so that's bringing those cars into it, and Boothie slowly falling back into that train.
Yeah, I think if you're Nuts, you don't mind this, do you? You want those cars behind to get in a train and squabble a bit and, hey, add your gap, make it up to 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I know he's got a pit again, which is going to send him down the field if we don't have another safety car. That's the big disadvantage that he'll have. But, yeah, not looking too bad so far. Let's just go back down the rest of the field. I've got Single Track here who will have the DRS and Donny won't, as the two Alpha Tauris are going to fire down. Let's see if Single Track can get the move done. Pulls out to the right hand side. He's going to have the inside and just cut across a little. Does it well in front of the braking zone. That's nice and smooth. Hooks it into that chicane. Very nicely done, sir. Up into P8.
Just noticed Captain Nibs out on the soft tyre, so probably trying to catch up a bit of time after having to pit after that safety car with all that palaver at turn 1 and 2, and sets the fastest lap of the 23.5.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. I saw him do it on Monday as well, to go onto the softs quite early. And I think it's fine, you can pick up fastest lap if you want, but also you've got to remember those softs are never going to make it to the end, right? You're going to have to pit, and pitting is going to cost you, well, it's going to send you to the back of the grid based on where you are now. So maybe sometimes it's better to go for that medium strategy and hold out for the long term. See, I'm going to go back up to the top.
I would say he's probably probably having his fingers crossed for another safety car with the obviously, like you say, those softs are not going to make it that far at all.
Correct. I wonder if we're just going to see the hard runners keep running on these hards, pushing them right to the edge, and praying for another safety car and keeping everybody at the back. That's what they need, and until then, maybe there is no reason to risk it to go into the pits and go behind. You've got Fanning up into P2 now as well. He's got the move done on Boothie. Connor's the one who'll be desperate to get behind these people. He knows these tyres are much younger, but it's Manny you've got to watch out for. Who's on those medium tyres? He's not given up. We've seen the fight of his. They go side by side, and he kind of cuts off the angle, all nice and clean though. Keeps his position, but he's got to be wary of Manu, who is up for the fight here tonight.
As he had a little bit of a shape up into Lesmo 1, but obviously sensibly stayed behind and waited for the DRS.
Yeah, I'm going to stick on board with Connor here. Let's see if that DRS opens. I can't see it open yet. How did he not? Was that open? That is open, sorry. I thought he was going to make a move on Boothie, but he didn't. I think he needs to get past Boothie quickly. If Boothie doesn't have DRS, he's going to be losing time. He wants to get a car in between himself and Manu as we head down to the Parabolica. Is Connor going to make the move up the inside? Oh, the right by side is always very close around here, but he does it. Boothie has to back out of that one as they give the space. But remember, he's not going to have...
Lead is in, Nuts is pitted.
Yeah, thank you very much. Connor's not going to have the DRS, is he? But no, that doesn't seem to bother him, as Boothie has got to defend, as we've got Manu at the inside! As the back runner's slight contact. Oh, that was close. P17 think have another time penalty, unfortunately, in the pits, as we have...
Melvin's out. Melvin's out at Ascari.
And that's the safety car. We were talking about them wanting a safety car. That's the one they've got. So, was it Jackstra and Nuts? They've pitted. Let's see if they're the big losers for this safety car, or was it a stroke of genius? Are they going to win big? Who's going to pit now? You've got The one problem they've got is everybody else in front of them isn't going to pit, are they? They are going to make up that 13-second gap. They're probably going to all jump up 3 spaces, but yeah, then it's just going to be a run to the end.
And then the question is, obviously it's minimum of 2 laps as Jacob gets another 5-second speed in the pit lane. He's not having the best of days. With it being round about now, would it be worth the risk going to probably the soft tyre? Because obviously the safety car will stay out for at least 2 laps minimum.
I think it's a strategy. Like, you can see some like Jacob at the back there, he's got onto it. If you're in last place, why not? You know you need to fight your way up the field, and the softs will get you places. But again, I reckon at the end of 7 laps, they'll be towards the end of their life, and everybody else around you is going to be either on fresher mediums or hards that can go the distance. It's, yeah, you see a lot of cars going for it. Boothie on the softs, Manu on the softs. I think that's aggressive from Manu, who was on the mediums. He was one of the medium runners who took them early, who thought he might risk it, trying to go all the way to the end. He doesn't. He puts on a pair of softs. So, yeah, great mix of strategies here, I feel. I think those softs are going to benefit you in the short term. I just don't know how they're going to feel down lap 27.
Probably like driving on ice.
Yes, and that's the last thing you want to do when you're at 200 miles an hour hurtling towards turn 1, right? You want to be confident that your car can come to a screeching halt, or otherwise you're going to be through the polystyrene barriers and picking up a hefty time penalty to boot.
Yeah, or better yet, because the speed you carry through Ascari, that's another place you don't really want to be have every heavy worn tyres. Because I did get a feel, especially going through Ascari, especially when you've got that much wear, especially on that left rear tyre, which takes majority of the pain round this track. The tyre, it leans on the nose, especially going through there. I did kind of feel my rear going a few times, especially in the middle of Ascari with the rear, with the tyres being so lack of grip.
Yeah, it's a big risk, I agree, and we'll see how our drivers cope with it. I've just got on the screen there the penalty situation that I think is quite important. We've just seen, unfortunately, happened under safety car conditions, but Manu in P8 picked up a 3-second time penalty, and he was one who I thought was excuse me, sorry. And Manu was one who I thought was really in contention, maybe for a really good result. He's going to be swearing because he's going to have that to fend off in the end of the race. Single Track's on 3, B17 at the back of the field is on 3, 38's on 3, and Baby Hornet in the Red Bull is on 6. However, do you reckon the Red Bulls could play a bit of a team game here? If you're Baby Hornet, if you are out of the points, you've got P6, it's probably going to be hard to pull 6 seconds around here. Do you reckon his job now is to just slow the rest up the field, or his teammate Connor, and help Connor out for the win tonight?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think Baby Hornet does find himself in that Checo Perez situation where it's going to be difficult to, especially with his tyres being 12 laps old compared to his Connor's, which are 9 laps old. And to be honest, at the end of the day, I would say he'd have to settle for letting Connor probably go on to win that. Plus, if he can fend off the rest of them for the rest of these laps, it's pretty much maximum points all round in the Red Bull camp. So, which will be ideal, especially constructors wise.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen who's got the old tyres, so top 5 have all kept on their original. Everybody from P6 down has decided to put on a fresh pair of either mediums or softs. So they'll be the ones making the moves, they'll be the ones trying to get up the field. The problem is that traffic in front of you, and if you're Connor, you want as many cars on old tyres, keeping people like Fanning, Boothie, Manu out of your way, as we have the safety car in this lap. So let's go to Connor, right at the front. It's quite a late call for the safety car in this lap, but that means more laps of racing, and that's what we always want around here. 6-lap shootout we're going to have around here at Monza. Let's see when Connor decides to go. He's going very, very slowly indeed. And away he goes. And look at that, Baby Hornet. He says, oh no, my teammate got away from me. What a shame. He doesn't care. It's 3/4 of the gap. His job is to keep Donny, 38, Rob Smith, and the rest of them behind as they fire down. Let's keep on board, I think, with Fanning, who's going to have the spicier, colder tyres. As I see, there's a... Gosh! What's happened there? There's an Alpine who's gone super wide there, and he's got chaos into the fourth corner. I don't know if he got on the grass or something. That might have been nuts. He seemed to go very wide at the left there. Just caught it on the edge of the screen.
It was nuts. I've just gone down and
Gosh, there's a lot of carbon fibre. There's 2 cars on the barrier.
Jesus.
That's huge. That's Manu and Jackster. 2 people were really fighting for the lead. They've come together at Curva Grande. Gosh, if that was real life, those 2 cars, it'd be a red flag around here. They'd need to repair that barrier. But as it is, in the game, of course, because we had 3 safety cars, I'm not even going to bother to bring out another one. It looks like we're racing here to the end, folks. So Manu and Jackster out in dramatic fashion as Connor tries to pull a gap on his teammate, but it's not quite working. Blimey. Chaos. That's all I can say. Absolutely chaos on the safety car restart.
Wouldn't be Monza without chaos.
No, it certainly wouldn't. And there's no shortage of it here tonight. So who have we got fighting to the lead? Tell you what, that puts Boothie in a really interesting position now. Out of nowhere, he's back up to 5th. He's had the pace. He's been off the pace. He's had an up and down race. Could we see him make some sort of shock result here tonight, as he's the man with the freshest tyres on track? Fanning behind him.
A very, very quick Scouser behind him in Fanning.
Yeah, he's looking fighty.
Very, and I know Fanning's one of these that if he sees an opportunity, gets one little sniff. If he knows that it's a decent place to overtake, he does go for it. He does go for it.
Yeah, but he knows. I must say, Fanning does go for it, but he has that respect. He knows the gap.
Yeah,
he knows how wide it's going.
He has a lot of respect for many drivers on track. He will always give you the racing room. And I mean, I've had many battles with Fanning, and I would have to say he is very, very respectful. And to be honest, as long as you give him room as well, you don't get the angry side of him per se.
Oh, totally, yeah. You respect me, I'll respect you, and then we can all have a fun race together. Mutz Nuts is out. Has gone at Ascari. He's had a bit of a hectic restart under this safety car, and the field is now down to 12 as this Monza Grand Prix starts to become a bit of a race of attrition. DRS is now enabled. So now those drivers will have 4 laps to use up all their ERS, all that DRS, see who can make the move on each other. 38 all over the back of Donny. I thought Donny was all over the back of Baby Hornet. He's just at the back there, very wide, a little twitch from Baby Hornet, and I think that might mean that Donny's going to be, yes, just have the run on him. That gap come down was about 0.3, 0.25, but he's not alongside. I don't think it's going to be enough to make the move down to the chicane. Maybe Hornet's just going to make that car as wide as possible for Connor now. And he's tried, but he's lost a little bit out of the exit as they go into the Lesmo 1 and 2 down the inside.
Ooh, a touch with tyres there, just a minor touch, but they got away with it.
Yes, they did. Thankfully, they're all still pointing in the right direction as we've got a little bit more of a battle behind the 38 goes wide, and it's single track making the move. And now look at those big, juicy DRS flaps wide open in the wind. Everybody likes a big flap on a Wednesday night, and we're seeing a lot of them here tonight, folks. The single track goes up into 5th place. Boothie on the softs, still in 4th. Hasn't charged up the field like I thought he might, but he's keeping his own, and crucially, he's got DRS on those 2 cars in front. That gap up top for Connor is extended all the way up to 2.5 seconds. We'll be hoping that he can just have a quiet race up top now.
Hopefully he won't have repeats of last time.
No, exactly. If he gets 3 seconds, it's going to make it very, very interesting as Anthony goes fastest. 10th place in the Haas on those mediums. We've got side-by-side with Donny's making the move, of course. Baby Hornet has no ERS whatsoever. So it's Donny into the lead. He's made it. Baby Hornet in 3rd. Maybe battled as much as he could do. There's not much he can do without the DRS right here. You are a bit of a sitting duck. And now it's Boothie's turn to have a go. Well, it's just Baby Hornet. He has to hang on to that rear wing of Donny for his dear life, because if he gets away, it'll be another sitting duck again. Let's see, you really see the difference. Gosh, look at that. But he had such a better drive coming out there. now you see the hards starting to go off. These hards do have to run for another 2. Yeah, they'll go up to 18 laps for Hornet. He'll have the most worn set of hards in the field, so he's going to struggle. But it's Martin who's taking the opportunistic move, maybe around the outside. Even on his face, there's contact between the two of them. And that's Boothie's charge done. That might be Martin's charge. He's one who seems to have kept it in fourth, but yeah, another big moment. And that's Boothie without
38's lost it on Ascari, and that's a DNF for 38.
Yeah, let's see if we can see where that is. It would be on the left-hand side there. Yep, just lost on the exit. Must have got him far on the grass. So now you're into only 11 people left. Another retirement. And gosh, if you finish the race, you pick up a point. And what that's done at the front of the race, it means Connor is well in the lead. He's got that gap up to 3.5 seconds. Donny in second. Oh, we've got another drop out. Is that Ghost Rider out as well now? Or has Ghost Rider just gone into the pits and DNF?
I think that's in the pits.
Yeah, but he's decided to DNF as well. So Boothie without a front wing will pick up points if he makes it to the end of the race. Oh, it's all happening here. I won't be stewarding this race. I'll be commentating on Tier 4. Unfortunately, you won't have heard the last of my voice, but I'm glad I'm not in that steward's room tonight. I think we're going to have a couple of reports. We have Rob Smith. Let's try and get back to the action here. Where's our main battle? We've got this train all the way back still from Baby Hornet back to Captain Nibs from 3rd to 4th. It looks like the leader, Connor and Donny, are just going to run away with it at the top. As you see a lot of cars, and thinking of the move, gosh, he's behind a Fanning who is without his front wing as well. So he's going to be very quick down the straights, but let's see how he can take the Parabolica with no front nose. I think it's going to be a bit tricky.
Yeah, especially with the lack of aero on the front, getting that less turning.
Oh, you can see the difference there as well as Ant tries to go up the inside. It's the ultimate 0-0 wing setup. And he's going to have DRS as well, but I think he just has to be respectful. He needs to know that he's not going to be able to slow that car down as fast without a front wing. I think it's sensible to pull out of that and up into 5th place. Single track also up into 3rd on those mediums. Much better, those hards for Baby Hornet really struggling here as you're in the last lap. And you see Ant all over the back of him as well. Is he going to make the move?
Ant's
yes,
gone
he
round
does.
The outside.
Yeah, that's how much better traction he has. Look at that, those hards really falling away. He's done his job, Baby Hornet, but just unfortunate he couldn't stay further up the field.
I think Ant also went purple in that first sector as well, because he lit up purple on the mini-map.
Yeah, he's been quiet on that. He's been in the mid-pack, and now, lap 27, it's all come alive for him. And gosh, could he get a podium on track with one last banzai move on single track here? He's not going to do it, which I think is the sensible decision. Excuse me. Or just pop to the front, even though these two are right over the back of them. I wonder if Ant's going to make a move. I'm going to stick with them. I know Connor's leading round the last corner and does go for the inside. Is there going to be contact? Both of them leave space. No, I think single track's going to make it. So we'll go to Connor, who's across the line in first place. Excellent. We'll be very happy with that. Donny in the AlphaTauri second, and then it's Ant and Fanning single track with a 3-second penalty, of course, so that forced him down the field a bit more. So we've got Ant taking 3rd. As it stands, Fanning in 4th, single track 5th. Captain Nibs, great recovery drive from there, went on the softs, took the mediums to the end in 6th. Rob Smith and McLaren in 7th. Baby Hornet, that 6-second penalty, unfortunately, puts him all the way down in 8th. And we'll see what happens once we get all of the official results through. Private car. Driver of the day comes up on the screen as Ant. Want to disagree with the computer game, Carl? Have you got one of your own drivers of the day now?
Well, the game always goes on positions gained, if I'm not mistaken, and with Ant starting from the back, it was kind of guaranteed the game was going to give it him.
There's a lot to choose from.
I would. My mind is saying probably Connor because of how he controlled the race, especially coming into the safety car and just controlling it at his own pace and stuff, and just staying out of trouble. But there's many people there that could probably have it, like the game says as well, with Ant starting from 20th and finishing third on track and
Yeah.
also getting fastest lap.
Yeah, I agree. I think Connor, fast from the start. Donny, great recovery drive from 12th on the grid up into second place. I think he'll be very happy with that. I'll take you through the runners and riders now then. So Connor in first, Donny in second and in third. Fanning fourth, Single Track fifth, Captain Nibs, great points for him in P6. Rob Smith in seventh, David Hornet eighth, B17 ninth, Boothie in 10th, and then unfortunately we into our people who did not finish, which is Ghost Rider 11th, 38 in 12th, Mutts Nuts 13th, Manu, who I thought had an excellent race before the big incident between him and Jackson at the Curva Grande, 14th and 15th respectively, Fire Rooster 16th, Melbourne 17th, Scratch 18th, Fox Red 8th, 19th, and in 20th place we've got Geke Matthew. Oh, well, I'm off to have a quick 5-minute cry in the corner to try and recover from that race. And we will go again in about 15, half an hour's time. Thanks for joining me, Carl. It's great as always to have you on board.
Yeah, pleasure to do this. I love Monza, so I was really looking forward to this one. And when I saw my name on the list for Monza, I thought, get in there.
Well, I'm really glad you got the opportunity to commentate. It's been a pleasure as always. And yeah, everybody who watched, thanks for tuning in. We'll have another race very shortly. So don't change that dial, and we'll see you in a bit. See ya. Bye.